back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing all right. We have entered the third phase of the lockdown, and I hope like hell that the government has an exit strategy. This is turning out to be crazy otherwise. Anyways, we have a lot to keep us occupied. Like the streaming networks are coming up with new content every day. So Netflix came out with this new movie called Mrs. Serial Killer, which I happened to watch the other night, and I thought I would do a review for you guys. So let's watch the trailer first, and then we can go and review this movie. Well, yeah, let's go watch the trailer.
ये कहानी अब खत्म होने वाली है जैसे हमने सोचा वैसे नहीं।
Who you talking to, you freak? ये साइको मुझे मारने की कोशिश कर रही है।
कितनी लड़कियां लापता थी?
सर जी 6।
एक मिली तो कितनी बची? तो कातिल इस समय जेल में है, मत भूलो।
The defendant will remain in custody without bail.
जॉय इनोसेंट है। ये मैं जानती हूँ कसूरवार कौन है।
हमें ये साबित करना होगा कि सीरियल किलर अब भी बाहर है।
हेलो पुलिस स्टेशन, एक लड़की और लापता हो गई।
मैं अपने हस्बैंड को बचाने के लिए कुछ भी करूंगी।
Hello, are you there?
ये तुम्हारे लिए फैसले की घड़ी है, बट रिमेम्बर, तुम्हें फैसला लेने की पूरी आजादी है, बट नतीजा
टॉर्च अभी तूने देखा ही कहाँ है, वो तो तू अब देखेगी।
Okay, so the trailer looks very promising, but let me warn you, it's also very misleading. Written by Shirish Kunder and produced by Farah Khan. This movie has Jacqueline Fernandez in the titular role along with Manoj Bajpayee and Mohit Raina. So let's first talk about the plot. So, Manoj Bajpayee plays Mrityunjay Mukherjee, a doctor, a gynecologist who is arrested, apprehended by the police for a series of murder investigations that are going place in the small town of Missouri where the story is set. And this doctor, he pleads innocence, and he says this to his wife that he's innocent, and the wife believes as well, and she decides to do anything in her capacity to get her husband out of the jail. And that is what the entire crux of the story is. How and what all transpires, this forms the tale. Now, for a good murder mystery, the basic element is that there has to be a moment when you realize everything, when it has been laid open by the writer or the performers towards the end. You never have that moment in watching this series. Never you realize that, oh my god, I didn't see this coming, because the plot itself is very, very thin. The name itself gives away a lot, Mrs. Serial Killer. Now, if I would have been the writer, I would have taken it to a completely different tangent, but that's something else to talk about. So this is basically the plot line where Mohit Raina plays an inspector who is investigating these murders, and Jacqueline Fernandez is playing Shona Mukherjee, the doctor's wife, and she is doing all sorts of things to save her husband. Now from here on, the spoilers. Stop if you haven't watched it. Now, as the story progresses, progresses, you would come across some gruesome scenes, which are the telltales of crime thrillers, and all of us who have been on a staple diet of Criminal Minds and all the crime thrillers that are available, you would know that you would have scenes which are gruesome and to display the psychotic breakdown of the serial killers. So it's all there. There are tokens or the trophies that a serial killer takes, and here in this case it's actually very disturbing because it involves fetuses and pregnant mothers, which it kind of gives me heebie-jeebies, and that was not fun to watch actually. Fetus was floating in the jar, so I really want to get that image out of my mind. But the performances is what something which pulls the story down to a great bit. Apart from the haphazard way in which the plot carries forward, so there are flashbacks, and then you are brought back to the story again, and then you are suddenly taken back, and then you're brought back to the present again. That kind of storytelling is something which I find very problematic. So if you're doing that, do it consistently or don't do it at all. And they do it at the most abrupt moment. Maybe just to bring the sensational element or to keep the viewer engaged perhaps, because the storyline lacks that kind of an interesting element which a crime thriller should have. And there are some things are just not, the dialogues that are said, they are not either they have just been thrown after as an afterthought, because they don't lead, like for example towards the end when the killer Manoj Bajpayee makes his wife sit down and pierces a knife in her hand and makes her sit, he tells her to think about all their interactions up right from the marriage till today, and she would know that he actually was a killer. So they don't build on that. Why is that dialogue said? You as a viewer do not get anything out of such an exchange. I mean, I don't know if I'm able to explain it correctly, but if they would have, it could have been tighter, and a lot of things could have been done away with, which are just distractions from the main storyline. And each of the end, you just can't throw surprises at an audience towards the end just to tie your story. Oh, this happened because this was there, this happened because... You need to tie it down neatly throughout the story, so that towards the end, when you open that gift, the audience would be like, we saw this, we knew about it, we couldn't put two and two together. So that should have been the thing. Any Agatha Christie fan would vouch for it, that is how a good crime murder mystery thriller is written. But here this falls awfully short in a lot of ways. So after dissecting the plot, let's move on to the performances. This was supposed to be a thriller and could have been made better by just replacing people who were playing certain characters. And I believe here it was Jacqueline Fernandez who is playing the titular role, because it actually is a compelling story. A wife who is out there to save her husband decides to do copycat murders so that he is not framed, because of course the murderer is out there and he should get a bail and get out of the prison. But the entire manner in which she plays her character is very cartoonish actually. Had an able performer, a more seasoned performer been in her place, they would have approached this role differently. Because you see, there are a lot of shades of this character, which doesn't come across very well because the performance falls short. So either there are two things: the character has not been explored well in writing, and also all the flaws that were in the writing, they just got multiplied when the performer started playing out those things and not playing out a lot of those things. So it falls short. Her body language is weird, as if she doesn't know what to do in that particular setup, in a particular scene. So you see the beginning of the trailer where she's screaming and trying to convince you that she's a psycho, and in the other scene you see her playfully strutting about in the hallway holding her dress, which it actually is very, very it's not a very convincing performance on her part. And she, as Manoj Bajpayee's wife, they didn't look good together, sorry. And I liked Manoj Bajpayee much better in Kriti, the other short film where he played a similar sort of psychotic character, but that was much better. And this one, it's everything is on your face. The music, which is trying to mimic the Psycho era, the movie, and it's loud, and there's no sense of subtleness anywhere. It's right there, thrown at your face. Perhaps they still think that Indian viewers need everything set out on a platter to understand. The loud orchestra being played where the surgeon, the gynecologist, thinks that he is playing God by punishing women who get pregnant out of wedlock. So it's very on the face, and it kind of is vulgar and distasteful to a large extent. Mohit Raina does his part, but again, towards the end, when the story is being tied up and the way he explains his own part in this entire fiasco, it actually is comical rather than making you, get a feeling of shock or a feeling of, I didn't see this coming, that kind of a thing. And it's just like, oh my god, just get it over with, kind of a feeling that you would have towards the end. And again, the usual cliche trope that in the end the killer is somehow escaped and he's still out there and everybody should be still scared because the story is not over. That is how they decide to end this tale. And there is a debutante here, Amir Khan's niece, I forget her name, put it there down, and she debuts as one of the characters. She's convincing, and she's good actually. Her character could have been a little better edged out, but then whatever little part she had, she did an excellent job of it. So this is what my analysis is of the plot and the performance. And the background score for a thriller, which is very important, like I mentioned, too on the face, too obvious, too loud, and so that's about the music of this entire thing. And so how much I liked it, I don't know, I just sat and watched it. I didn't think too much, except those gruesome details of the murder, which are disturbing to any sane person. But apart from that, you would see that I really couldn't imagine it would fall out this way. For me personally, as a writer, I would have had it much more interesting by doing this. I would have made the husband not a serial killer, and the wife would still go ahead, do the copycat murders, and find herself in real trouble when the real killer is still out there and tries to contact the police. That is how I would have gone about it. But yeah, they took the easy route. It was an easy breezy writing for a murder mystery where everything played for the convenience of the writer. So yeah, it's not very fun to watch. So that was the detailed review for the movie. I hope you liked it or not liked it, whatever, let me know in the comments. This is the first review, I think, of a movie, of a full-length movie that I've done on this channel, and I might have made a lot of mistakes and not made it crisp as it should have been, but forgive me this time. Next time I'll be better prepared. And if you're here for the first time, please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And people who are here with us, thank you, keep supporting us. And if you like the content, do also share the content so that more people can know about the channel. And this is me signing off, so goodbye and take care of yourselves.